Jah. Sorry I was at the range too long there, brother. I had to do some. I had to get her in. I had to get her in. Yes, sir. Keep it country. Okay. There we go. I knew it was there. Okay. Quick. I guess my complaint is like, get that motherfucker his book. What's in there first? Oh, that's breathed long enough. He's already breathed for an hour. Oh, I need it now. Dios los bendiga. Summer Grams, Mikey Cox, what's going on, beloveds? Let a few more people roll in, all right?
and this goes out for anybody who celebrates Thanksgiving as well, because it's a time that families get together, friends get together, and we have a good time. You know what I mean? So we'll take it as that. I know we got ancient historical information on Thanksgiving.
Just waiting on a few more people to pop in, you know. I'm actually, y'all know there's several different wines that I will sip on every once in a blue moon. I have plenty, but this one is one of my favorites. Our Deadly Red. They had me in mind. So are you paying attention? I hope so. Was that good, Papa? Was it good? Yeah? Was it good? Yeah? Get it, Papa. Get it. Get it, Papa. Get it, Papa. Go on, get it. Yeah. What's up? Come on. Come on. You jump up here any other time when you know I'm in the camera. Or you still licking your lips. You just got to eat. Come on. Yes, my boy. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's my boy. That's my little brother. Yeah, don't get caught up in the wires, okay? God, the love. Yes, we're going to watch Denzel's Equalizer 18. So, I just notified a few people because I know that they're playing with things, but it is what it is. So, I got a new book. Let's go ahead and just get it out of the way. I'm not going to be forever here. All right, let's go ahead. I'm not late. I'm on time. I was at the range. So I got this book right here by Dolores Cannon. Excuse me. I don't know if this is, I don't know. I don't know if I did the mirror. Did I do the mirror? Excuse me. If it is, I might not have done it when I set it up. But regardless of that. So this is the Custodians. And we'll get into it, but not today. Everything previously known of abductions and sightings was just the tip of the iceberg. Considered by many as the first book of her famed The Convoluted Universe series, Dolores Cannon's work in hypnotic regression has taken the study beyond abduction phenomenon. From the simple to the complex is explained with great detail, exploring areas untouched by other investigators. She makes understanding and acceptability of the unbelievable. This accumulated case study, spanning over 12 years, covers such topics such as cases of missing time, spacecraft from other dimensions and planes of existence, condensed and distorted time, alien and government cooperation and bartering, purposes and locations of implants in the human body, screen memories, pure energy beings, and transformation into the physical, solid matter, transportation of human beings, the lost astronauts, the differences and functions of alien races, reasons for abductions, and various genetic projects. So I think that will make for an interesting read. Wouldn't you say so? No, 5 of those things right off the top, I can give you an absolute response to, but I'm not here to shake the tree. Not with that. Okay. I'm just going to read a little bit. As you see, I'm having a couple glasses of wine. I'm a little tired. My finger trigger is a little worn. I went to the outdoor range. I went to the indoor range first and then the outdoor. Saw one of the young Marines who just turned 21. And he's got to get his ID up to date. And yes, he joined the Marine Corps last year. A Navajo brother who knew me from the res when he was a young one. And it's an awesome thing. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's get into the exposing the expositions of 1851, 1950. So they're still looking at the video. They have it demonetized, which shows their ludicrousy because we know who's coming over here watching, and they unsubscribe, then they come back and subscribe, they unsubscribe, put to the task, very immoral and everything else. All right. And Kusa community. I have to look at that. I didn't turn off the notifications because I want to see something. Anywho, let's go ahead and get into Exposing the Expositions, 1851, 1915, revised edition by Howdy Mikowski, 2021, from his 2019. Okay. We're just going to go ahead and get right into it. I'm just going to read a paragraph or two of each book. Heaven Bearers, I'm just going to share the next couple of paragraphs. And though it's longer than that, I want to keep you in suspense some form or another because I want your mind to travel. You dig what I'm saying? Hey, Lloyd, what's going on? What's happening, uwoduhi? Anyway, history is one of the most important subjects to study and understand, and it is the most likely to be disliked by students, for it is taught in a boring manner of the memorization of dates and names. Now, the subject is currently thought of as useless, but history is incredibly important because, as George Orwell reminded us in his book, 1984, he who controls the present controls the future. He who controls the past controls the present. Everything we do, are, and believe is somehow rooted in the past. And in parentheses, either our personal past of events and or as a collective. Now, the past we call world history, mind you. It tells us who we are as a species and why we are the way we are now. But it is very clear on just a little study that all history is only a series of hypotheses. Very little can be verified. Oh, it all can. Now, this is not the presentation students get today where they are told the textbook is right. Memorize it, say it on the test, pass, then never think of it again. If you do not fully examine and dig through history to find the lies, it is not that you will be condemned to repeat it, but far worse, you will be condemned to live the very existence that the lie creates. It is our presented history that creates the current bondage, destruction, and suffering. But what if the history of this place and the expositions is something totally different? Does that capitulate you in a certain way? I'm going to read one more small chapter and then we're going to move on from there. Let me mark it. 3 dots, 6, 9. There's a reason why I do numbers, people, because I've read this book 3 times now. It can be quite a ride to honestly study history. We see that today. It's cause and effects, sociology-wise, right? But it can also be very disturbing for the foundation of the self that is directly linked to it. To uncover any lies of history will be to uncover a piece of the lie of the self. So we make correction, right? It is why the resistance for many is so strong to study these topics. You are not just taking apart the history in a book. You are taking apart yourself, one lie at a time, for cleansing, right? In my book, Falling for Truth, I wrote of how we use a false, or at least unproven, point of reference for how we view ourselves in reality. Part of that point of reference is what we call history. Many have come before, but no one can tame the dragon. Hidden lands beyond the Antarctica and the continuations of Morris's journey between interconnected planets by Claudia Nocelli. No confusion, also confounded. That's all, brother. Okay. Let's get right into it. Chapter 27. Thanks for the donations. I think somebody else donated. I hit him up, so appreciate it. We're almost there, and we're getting there. But anyway, the custodian game, the war between humans and giants in hidden lands in the south. While Charlie recovered his breath and could calm down a little when he saw beings of his own race around him, we asked some questions to better understand the situation that surrounded us and that we were going to have to face if we wanted to get out of there alive. The answers would begin to give us a little light to navigate this new path that destiny had in store for us. Charlie then began to detail his mysterious move to these hidden lands while an intense rain suddenly fell, and meanwhile we were seeking shelter among rocks stained with mud. I can't understand how I got to these lands, because the final destination was to reach a base in Antarctica, or so we were told by a military man who claimed to be in charge. We had never seen him before. Some of us were sent to a precarious base in southern Argentina. We were put on a warship, and they explained the basics about the mission we were supposed to carry out in the Antarctic Peninsula. And it was only about logistics, guiding and taking care of the scientists who were going to transport elements for meteorological studies. That was basically what we were informed. Among the military chiefs, there were also other people with strange dark clothes. They seemed to come out of another time. They had dark glasses and did not seem to look directly at us, but avoided us or ignored us completely. Some companions asked some questions and gave us to drink something they said was obligatory. As I drank that rather disgusting and thick liquid, my legs began to feel a strange tingling sensation. Then my waist, then my chest seemed to burst, and I fainted. I woke up among the rocks and the swamp, while unknown people were running and screaming in pain around me. I had this gun, you see, and just as I got up and started shooting at the beasts that were slowly approaching from afar, almost for the same survival. None seemed to understand the situation around. There was only one very quiet man who was sitting looking at the ground, but his calmness was really admirable. I approached him and shouted several times for him to follow us. Those beasts were taking soldiers with their hands and were shaking them on the ground as if they were made of paper. The nightmare was just beginning. Butler, have you come across any of these strange beings with dark glasses around here? Are those blue beings? Who are those beings? Ron asked. Charlie, the blue beings appeared before us when we spent the 6 nights here. We moved away from the focus where those beasts seemed to live and secluded ourselves among the coasts. We tried not to light fires, but the cold and hunger became a worse struggle than those beasts when they go whole days without testing any food. Then we had no choice but to make and divided small and divided during the daylight so as not to raise so much suspicion. Fires, I believe he meant to put in there, or so we imagined. But as I was telling you, after the 6th night, very early in the morning, when the sun was just rising, a large boat appeared on the horizon and approached until it got as close to the coast where we were. 3 of those blue beings appeared overboard. They were very strange because the sun hit behind them and seemed to go through them. The sunlight turned blue when it touched their bodies. Many of our companions who were camping there tried to swim towards the boat as an escape route. I do not blame them, since I also thought so. But from the boat, they started to shoot at them. Confusion reigned amongst us again. We had huge beasts behind the vegetation waiting for us, and from the sea, a boat arrived to shoot at us. How could we explain this whole experience? This boat, after killing several soldiers, moved away, throwing several huge boxes near the shore. We did not trust them at all after the most chilling scene we could live. But we thought that maybe it was information, something that would explain or give us a certain path to follow, or at least some food. So we had no choice but to bring them and open them as soon as possible. Inside them were more weapons of war, more advanced weapons than we had so far, grenades, and some night vision binoculars. In one of the three large boxes were sheets that, in addition to detailing the inventory that had been sent to us, who knows what for or why, also had the list of all our names, and underneath it said something like, "Freedom is obtained by killing the 7 giants that live in these islands. Once the last one is dead, the exit will automatically be enabled." Some group took weapons and left to the west side. Others went to another sector, and some others stayed there trying to process everything. It was a very complex situation, and the division of the members was going to be even worse. At least I sensed it. The following nights were even more terrible. We could hear gunshots, explosions, and all kinds of screams of pain. In the distance, one of those nights, we saw how a soldier was shot through the air, and the deafening screams of the blast was chilling. There were only 8 of us left in our group. We decided to stay together no matter what. We approached one of the beasts without knowing it, and it began to chase us, emitting piercing sounds like a banshee, right? I am not sure how long we ran in the opposite direction to retreat. Time in these lands is very strange to analyze, but this being reached us, and when it was less than 2 meters from us, it grabbed one of us with both hands. I shot him several times while running without thinking. One of the shots happened to enter through his right eye, and the giant, with a scream of excruciating pain, fell down on top of the soldier who he had between his hands. We seized the moment to run with all our might, lamenting another casualty, and this time a very close one. I had known him for a long time, almost since I joined the army. He was like a brother to me. Butler then interrupted, saying that we were very sorry for his loss and that he had to go on with strength, as we were clearly in danger. This absurd war against the giants was a perverse game of the parasites. We don't quite know what the purpose would be, but many times it is impossible to come to a conclusion of the sick games they make the new humanity or humans play, and especially with other races, especially the race they detail like the giants. Anyway, Butler knew that these giants had no relation to the ones we knew, and they seemed to be genetically modified in an obvious way. They were possibly in prison here on these islands and might even have been moved from the Antarctic land itself to here to carry out this kind of manipulation. 2 of the giants suddenly appeared behind the rocks where we were waiting, one in front, excuse me, and one behind our position. They had us cornered. Charlie shouted something like, "I am exhausted of this reality. Damn giants," and ran towards one of them, shooting with his rifle. The giant was receiving bullet impacts, but in the first seconds, it seemed not to do him any damage. He had his right hand a big piece of metal that he took to the top to take impulse and let fall from his fist with all the force to when Charlie was, who lost his life in the act, excuse me. The giant fell down defeated by the previous shots, and we had no other option but to escape. We were terrified and confused. The giant that appeared on the opposite side did not follow us. We believe that when he saw his comrade killed, he decided to retreat. We returned for Charlie's body to deposit it on the nearby coast. Although it seemed a parallel with that reality, there was then hidden lands where a perverse war manipulated by the custodians was taking place, where humans and a race of giants were facing each other. The rules and weapons were given by the colonizing parasites to enjoy the bloody and brutal confrontations. How long had this been going on, I wondered? Charlie had died like so many others, who were delivered as offerings to giant beings genetically modified and also used for this confrontation. We traveled another part of the coast and found no more survivors. This situation was another of the many that we had to stop, exterminate it at the root. Clearly, the parasites ruled. They felt they were the owners and were willing to take this manipulation to all levels. The same thing you see happening in the hoods, these gangs in prison. The food, the water, the air, the soil. Butler did not understand how this area was not known after so many previous trips and how we were not aware of it. But we could not focus on that at this time, although it should be clarified that Butler felt something different about the reality we were living there. Anyway, we had to start planning our escape from those cursed islands near Antarctica. And we couldn't leave our ship broken down in the middle of that forest either. For if they were found, they would know perfectly well that the ancestors had returned to their homelands, if they weren't already aware of it by then. Butler commented in passing that possibly the custodians were using the race of giants they called Patagons by moving them here, undergoing serious genetic modification and all that it entailed just to satisfy their pleasure of another cruel war. As he was saying that out loud as a form of catharsis and explaining in passing his idea about these lands, we were approaching a metallic gray structure, and the beings standing at its gates were not going to be friendly to us at all, but quite the opposite. Custodians, men in black, and military men of the new humanity were there in some sort of meeting that seemed to be of the high command. As Butler would later confirm the presence of a custodian leader, according to our records, he was known as Agers. And there he was, entering through a space inside this strange grayish colored structure right under our noses. What do we do now? I asked aloud, confused by the whole situation, and it was not for less. We were really in a critical moment. Butler nodded his head and knew that we should return to our ship. I guess then that he planned to send a rescue signal, but it was too high risk. In fact, I did not even think we would use that option ever. The truth is that we were really at a dead end since we didn't know this island. The ship couldn't stay there, and we had a whole custodian meeting going on in front of us. We hurried as much as we could in our return to the force. The signal would be sent immediately, and it would cause us to be detected by the raiders, not only in the air, but also on the ground. And those would generate an earthquake of high levels around us. The custodians would come out in search of us, and the worst end would wait us. What would happen then? Was it time to take a risk and look for a way out? Although I must also clarify that looking for a way out of that strange area was not very encouraging either. And that's chapter 28. We'll be discussing the rescue. It's something else, isn't it? We're just going to read just a little bit of The Heaven Bearers, The Great Reset of 1834, and the Mud Flood by Janine Helen. There she is, South Africa. Hey, Snoo, Mikey Cox, T. Hines. Suppose terror attack at the border state. I was going to talk about that, and we'll cover that. Wild Indian, what's going on, beloved? I'm going to address that, and then we're going to sign off, because I want to sit back, 7 grams. I want to sit back and enjoy my drink, and you know what I'm saying, and get my little soups and everything ready. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right into it. And as you know, she was dealing with Henry and Malcolm and the fact of the bottom of the house. And anyway, let's take it from there. She greets Malcolm and Jane and asks her to get a bath ready for her while she heads upstairs. Please leave us. Malcolm enters the bedroom and Jane hurries out. Malcolm has been furious all day. Bonnie and her disappearing acts are driving him crazy, and he has been needing to vent his anger a lot more than he usually needs to. He puts down a white cotton towel and sits on it so that he is at eye level with her. I have noticed me getting angry doesn't stop you from being reckless. Perhaps I need to keep you locked up inside or have someone escort you at all times, he says calmly, but his voice is serious. He looks over at her and his eyes are soft and a happy green color. She expected him to be a lot angrier and demand an explanation from her. She is glad that he isn't behaving like that. Not yet, she cautions herself. You mean your top hat man? I figured he already reports my every movement, she replies sarcastically and gives him a cheeky and happy smile back. No, he doesn't work for me. He pauses and processes what she just told him. Did you get a good look at him? He dips his finger into the water. It is nice and warm, and he considers joining her. He stands up and starts to remove his clothes. She watches him slip off his shirt and can't help but stare at how manly he is. She carries on watching him take off his clothes and doesn't hide her smile. He looked like the man that was with you earlier when you found me in the library, but it wasn't the exact same man. He gave me a heart attack. That is why I hid. He just grabbed for me and I panicked and got so lost. I was very glad that Henry eventually found me. Move forward, he orders her, and he climbs into the bath and sits behind her, then gently pulls her back close to him. You made me very angry today, Bonnie. He speaks softly and calmly and rubs his head over her breasts, his hand, over her tatas and down to her stomach, where he says, I can feel it, the baby. He takes his fingers and tickles her stomach, and his touch is much warmer than the water. I'm sure you can, she says, all sarcastically, and rolls her eyes. I can hear it, feel it. He kisses her gently on the side of her head, and she realizes he is being serious. I have very sensitive senses, Bonnie. They will allow me to sense many things, including reading minds. It doesn't matter if it is the mind of a Phoenician, Tartarian, or even a human. It is all based on how their bodies reacts and smell. I will I will, excuse me, know if you are lying because I can hear your heartbeat. Smell the sweat that starts to form on your forehead and hands. The body has many giveaways. I can tell how much you despise me, and I know you are not happy to be the mother of my child. He stops talking and sighs. I can't blame you completely, but I do expect you not to harm this baby. Do you understand? Six boss, what's up, beloved? Her heart has a sudden change in rhythm. I would never harm my child. Please don't say something like that to me ever. Again. She isn't angry, and her voice is completely calm, but not entirely happy. This surprises him, and he isn't sure how to respond to her. She runs her fingers over his hand and thinks about what he just told her. What am I thinking about right now? She decides to test him and see what he comes up with. I know you found something down there, something about my mother. What did that note say? Her body tenses in horror. How can he know that? She decides to lie and test him further. The note was in some language, and I can only read the basics. Funlings aren't taught how to read. Hmm. And what did you find? Malcolm asked. Nothing. It was dark. Oh, I did find a metal pole with some baubles on it, but I left it down there. It was just a stupid metal pole. And what else? He asked gently. He kisses the side of her head again. She can feel his breathing get slightly heavier, and she knows that she must tell him about the painting. A family portrait of the same people from that book, and an organ, like in the church. I don't think its real purpose is meant to make sounds. Just by the way, she immediately regrets mentioning the organ and rolls her eyes again. Please don't close it up just yet. I would very much like to go back down there again. I found it also very interesting. She turns her head so she can see his face, an expression, and she batters her eyelids at him softly. You know how women do that thing. I like it. You were asking me for permission. His hand moves back up her tatas, and he massages them gently. Mm. Yes, I am. Thing is, don't want to lie to you. The thing is, I don't want to lie to you, but I will if you don't give me some freedom. I have a curious mind, Malcolm, and I want to learn things, completely understand them. Tell me what the note said, and I will think about it. He replies, and she can hear he is being serious. It said we are out of time. At least that is what Henry said. I really can't read that language. I can't read very well at all. She splashes the water with her hand and is ashamed by her admission, and she can feel her cheeks getting warm. Would you like to learn how? He asks her and stops playing with her tatas. She sits up and turns to look at him to see the expression on his face. Are you being serious? Malcolm nods his head and gives her a sweet and gentle grin. I wouldn't ask you as a joke. That would be cruel. And would you allow me to learn that language as well? She tries to test her luck since he is in such a good mood. He laughs and touches her face. No, not that. That is forbidden. It is law binding. But I will have someone teach you to read English if you would like. Why? I mean, why are you being so nice to me all of a sudden? You don't even you don't even have emotions or care. I have a purpose, remember, and that is all I am worth. Her question surprises him, and he needs a minute to ponder what to say to her in response. I am not sure, Bonnie. He answers honestly and closes his eyes and just lies there. He is thinking, and she never seen him like this before. I want you to tell me more about the old world, and in exchange, I won't see Henry anymore. She is testing him again, and he hopes he will take the bait. She hopes, excuse me, he will take the bait. That is not up to you, Bonnie. You know that. She lies back down again against him and can feel how hard he is as he presses up against her. We're going to stop there. Yes, yes, yes. Now we're going to start getting some really good, not you sexually deviant individuals, but some really good stuff. Things are going to start to illuminate themselves and show themselves in a way some of you might have a notion or can only speculate based upon a different time, plausibly and possibly. Now, the thing between Canada and America, for anybody that's in a car crash, and depending on the model of car they said, Paul from Fast and Furious vehicle blew up worse than that. That is not, that dude that did that first video was nothing but clickbait, and that's fear mongering. Remember I said pay attention? Because if there was going to be a terrorist attack, it wouldn't be happening between the border on a rainbow bridge. It would happen. It would happen with a daisy chain of many and multiple events. Remember the Tet Offensive and other things based on North Korea, the siege, and all of those things? People, vehicles blow up when they crash going at high speeds. Now, who knows, the government, because people have listened to this, might go and say, we found tetranitritol, we found ammonium nitrate, we found blasting caps, we found, well, aren't they the ones that gave them away? Aren't they the ones that allowed over 5 million combatants and warriors to come in? You think this is beyond their capabilities? Well, the majority of you don't know how to work as a team, to join together, to be cut off in case they decide to initiate a martial law. And then you can't really get and join up. You have to deal with the injuries around you. I'm just saying. Be wiser than the commodity of the system they've created. Rondo, what's going on, beloved? Okay? But yes, Lloyd, don't buy the bait. That's what they need, energy, remember? Look at it like, unless something trucks parked out in front of your house unmarked and somebody's sitting there talking about Allah Akbar, then you need to worry about it. Or people started coming down the street, going up in houses and murdering everybody, 20 rolling in at a time. What you gonna do? And drones flying overhead, dropping things that are easy to make. You're not paying attention to what's going on overseas and everywhere else. That's not really even in a big way. It's to create more energy to further pursue a war. And it's indicative that they pursue it here. But the problem is they're watching us. There's more surveillance here than in China and anywhere in the world. And that's all I have to say to that. Any more, it'd be telling too much. Okay. Much love and respect. The donation line's still open. The books are going to start traveling and tripling in. So let's get the rest of them, guys. You can't make me rich and pay no bill with $5 and $20 here and there, like for real. Think about it. Gaddy Green gets people that bless him all the time on TikTok. I got to fight with the people, and I'm sharing more, well, steeped in the truth of history without the dynamics of pulling out all my papers and everything that I shared in the past. That seems to be the go-to for everybody, or if they still have those platforms and look at my old posts, because I never deactivated the account on MySpace. I'm just saying. But I appreciate y'all. I'm going to sit back and drink about just a cup, I guess, of wine and get my, well, it's already warming. I got some onion rings. It's a small onion ring. I had to taste for them. So appreciate y'all. It's nothing but love and respect. I'm going to kick off the cowboy. But matter of fact, I can't believe I'm sitting here. These things are good for your feet. But God dog, man. It's time to put on the PJs or the sweats. Let the cold air get it nice and cool. And put on Denzel Washington's Equalizer 3:18, whatever. I don't know. They make so many follow-ups. And I'm going to see you guys in the AM. All right? No, I didn't turn the phone on. I'm not going to. I'm not playing with these companies. I'm not playing with none of them. They have choices to make. That's the bottom line to that. All right? So I appreciate y'all. Hey, thank you, baby. Appreciate y'all. It's a magnificent time to be alive. Okay? See y'all in the AM. Hey, DeAndre, what's going on, brother? Anyway, catch y'all later.